In this Drug-Free Australia series, we will look at the devastation being wrought worldwide by decriminalisation and its failure in the country which initiated it all in the first place, Portugal. Despite drugs in many cases devastating the lives of a drug user's partner, their children's grandparents, siblings, friends, workmates, I can keep going, Portugal decided to hand out disincentives against illicit drug use, more akin to nothing more than a parking ticket, while shifting law enforcement funds into identifying drug users with problematic addictions, working to dissuade them against drug use. Dissuasion uses small social worker and lawyer casework committees to dissuade drug users from continuing their use by funneling them to recovery and treatment by coercion if necessary. It's crucial to recognise that dissuasion is premised on the fact that drug use presents unacceptable harms both to the user and the community that tolerates them. It is undeniably about discouraging drug use. And if drug use increases, the policy is a failure. Remember that fact. If there is one thing true about Portugal's decriminalisation experiment, it's that there are a multitude of entirely false claims made about it, making it a shining example of the nature of mis- and disinformation, fake news, which the media refused to correct for years until 2023. All of those claims are on this slide, and we'll take them one by one in this episode, showing that Portugal is anything but the poster child of international drug policy. Now, every statistic cited in this video is backed by an official source, found in the PDF booklet showing on the right-hand side of the screen, full of hyperlinks that will take you to each. Just follow the instructions on this slide to get to this booklet. Drug liberal activists loudly claim big reductions in prison numbers in Portugal to give the misleading impression that drug use is way down. But it really should be blindingly obvious that if people are now being fined for their drug use instead of going to prison, prison numbers are absolutely no indicator of drug policy success or failure. But unfortunately, too many are easily fooled. Dissuasion is all about reducing drug use, but the failure in Portugal is abundantly clear, with drug use up 59% between 2001 and 2016. Dissuasion obviously doesn't work. And compare that with Australia's tough on drugs, where in 9 years we reduced our drug use by 39%. When you look at high school kids where use is still forbidden, use of cannabis is up 24%, having been as high as 60% in 2011, well after decriminalisation started. Here is another indicator of increased use. Because there is a fairly inflexible relationship between opiate deaths and opiate use, the percentage rise in deaths in Portugal is universally matched by the very same percentage rise in use of heroin and other opiates. Dissuasion is clearly not working with problematic addictions. Now, activists delight in saying that Portugal has some of the lowest drug use in Europe, where almost all European countries were already very soft on drugs, of course. Portugal was indeed lower before decriminalisation, except for its heroin use, but European wastewater data puts Portugal at the moment amongst the heaviest drug-using cities across Europe for cocaine, ecstasy, cannabis, and ketamine. Wastewater only measures use of 6 illicit drugs. Here's another oft-heard false claim, that Portugal's decriminalisation reduced their HIV levels, which were the highest in all of Europe in 1998, to the low levels they are today. Check out the yellow line on this official graph, and you can see clearly that they have found the right solution here before 2001, when decriminalisation started, with HIV steeply reducing to that point, where they only needed from that point on to continue that successful strategy. And so decriminalisation was not responsible at all. There are similar claims about heroin use, which was the highest in the developed world in 1998. From this graph, you can see that it was already reducing from 0.9% in 1998 to 0.7% a full year before decriminalisation in 2000. Whatever they were doing before 2001 kept on working after 2001 until the internal imperatives of decriminalisation took use and deaths right back to where they were before decriminalisation. Lastly, there is the claim that Portugal has lower percentages dying from drugs than any other European country. But that often comes back to differences in how countries count their drug deaths, with other indicators showing Portugal performing very, very poorly. Since 2008, the Washington Post has been loudest in the media cheer squad for Portugal and its decriminalisation of drugs. But no longer in 2023. Reality bites hard. Next in our 8-part series, we'll look at how badly drug decriminalisation has failed in other countries.